Imagine someone like Sarah, a student, right? Sitting alone at the back of a workshop, loads of empty chairs around her.
Hmm.
And every time the speaker looks her way, head down, back to the phone, the notes.
Yeah, avoiding that eye contact. Very common.
Totally. And answering questions in the lectures, forget it, group work just causes sleepless nights.
And those dreaded class presentations.
Exactly. So many students like Sarah end up needing doctor's notes because the anxiety is just, it's overwhelming.
It really goes beyond just feeling a bit nervous, doesn't it? It properly impacts daily life, studies, just being present.
Right. So today on the deep dive, we're going to unpack this whole world of social anxiety and shyness.
Get right into it.
Yeah, our mission is basically to cut through all the noise, give you a shortcut to being really well informed.
We'll look at some surprising facts, the why behind it all.
And practical strategies, yeah. Things you can actually do to change how you relate to anxiety. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving.
It's those small, conscious tweaks, isn't it? Like the tortoise, not the hare, building sustainable change.
Exactly. So we mentioned how it impacts daily life, presentations, but it goes wider than that, right? Academically, maybe?
Oh, definitely. It's hesitating to answer questions, dreading group work, like you said.
Yeah.
But beyond academics, it limits opportunities, connections. It shapes your whole life path, potentially.
So if it's hitting us on so many levels, what's it actually made of? Like, what are the basic components? Researchers talk about three core parts.
That's right. Three main bits. First, there's the physiological.
Okay, body stuff, like that fight, flight, or freeze response. Adrenaline rush.
Exactly. That's when you might feel, shortness of breath, muscles getting really tense, maybe sweating, feeling dizzy.
Stomach churning.
Yeah, stomach upset, tremors, headaches,
Yeah.
even needing the bathroom more often. Your body's gearing up for danger.
Wow. So that's your ancient survival system kicking in, even if you're just, I don't know, about to walk into a party.
Pretty much. It doesn't always distinguish modern social threats from, say, a saber-toothed tiger.
Okay, so that's the physical. What about the mental, the emotional side?
That's the cognitive emotional component. It's often very future-focused. You're picturing things going wrong, playing out worst-case scenarios in your head.
Right, like, I'm going to say something stupid or they'll think I'm boring.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And all underpinned by that feeling of fear or dread.
Okay, physical feelings, mental loops. How does it show up in what we do? The behavioral bit.
Behaviorally, it's all about avoidance. Finding ways to dodge the situation, put it off, distract yourself.
Like that example of the person running late, but taking a longer route to avoid a busy road.
Yes. They take the quiet route, miss their train, and end up feeling annoyed, disappointed.
Mm.
That's avoidance costing them something real.
And that seems to be the crux of it, doesn't it? The short-term fix, avoiding the discomfort, ends up having these huge long-term costs.
Absolutely. It narrows your life, stops you doing things you value. These behaviors become automatic, but the trade-off is rarely worth it in the long run.
It sets up a cycle. Avoidance feels good for a second, reinforces the fear, makes you more likely to avoid next time.
Precisely. That's the trap.
Thinking about this, why are we wired this way? It seems counterproductive sometimes. Where does this intense anxiety come from?
Well, modern life definitely dials it up, but the basic building blocks, they're ancient, deeply rooted in our evolutionary past. Our brains are still running some pretty old software.
Including something called the negativity bias. Sounds like we're programmed to focus on the bad stuff.
That's basically it, yeah. We remember negative experiences much more strongly than positive ones. You could have 10 lovely chats, but that one awkward moment, that's what replays at night.
Why, though? What's the evolutionary advantage there?
Survival. Think about our ancestors. Remembering the berry that made you sick or the place where a predator lurked was crucial. Forgetting could be fatal. Our amygdala, that almond-shaped bit in the brain, is geared to spot threats and react fast and hard to negative stuff.
So it's like a super sensitive smoke detector sometimes goes off when it's just burnt toast.
Exactly. It prioritizes potential threats, which means in our relatively safe modern world, it can overreact to things like talking to strangers, public speaking, treating them like life or death situations. We expect the worst.
And this negativity bias connects directly to that emergency arousal system, the fight, flight, freeze.
It does. Those negative thoughts can trigger the whole cascade. The amygdala signals danger, energizes the sympathetic nervous system, ready for action.
But if it's always on because of modern stressors, that can't be good.
No, it's not. Chronic activation wasn't the design. It can lead to problems like lowered immune function, high blood pressure, even increased risk of heart disease and depression down the line.
Okay, so how does the brain actually create this feeling? Are there like specific pathways?
Yeah, researchers talk about two main routes.
Yeah.
First, the reactive route, sensory info site. Sound bypasses the thinking brain, goes straight to the amygdala.
Like touching a hot stove. You pull back before you even think, ouch.
Precisely. It's super fast, a built-in safety reflex. And importantly, trying to logically talk yourself down when this route is firing often doesn't work. The alarm's already ringing.
So the amygdala jumps the gun for safety. But the cortex, our thinking brain, it can also start anxiety.
Yes, it can. Two ways, mainly. First, it can misinterpret something neutral as threatening.
Like seeing someone across the room smirk and instantly thinking it's about you.
Right. Then you realize they're on a video call or something totally unrelated.
Yeah.
But your cortex already sent the threat signal to the amygdala.
Okay, misinterpretation. What's the other way?
The cortex can just generate distressing thoughts and images all by itself. No external trigger needed. Just worrying, imagining bad outcomes, and that sets off the anxiety response.
Wow. So our own thoughts can be the trigger. Okay, knowing all this, how do we start to shift things? How do we move from that protective safety mode into, well, action mode?
It's about making that conscious shift. For that amygdala-based anxiety, the quick reactive kind, the first step is just awareness. Recognizing, that's my amygdala doing its thing, maybe overreacting.
And not trying to argue with it logically.
Exactly. Because the cortex often can't override it directly in that moment. Trying too hard can even make it worse. Acknowledge it's trying to protect you, but it might be mistaken this time.
That feels like a key distinction. But changing those deep pathways, that sounds hard. How does that even work?
Well, that's where neuroplasticity is really hopeful. Our brains can change. They can form new connections.
Rewiring itself.
Essentially, yes. By repeatedly, safely exposing yourself to situations that trigger anxiety and seeing them as chances to learn, you build new neural pathways in the amygdala, pathways that signal safe instead of danger.
So it takes courage and maybe reframing the experience, like an opportunity mindset.
Absolutely. Courage is key. Seeing it not as torture, but as training for your brain.
And speaking of mindset, this research by Elia Crum and Ellen Langer, the stuff Kelly McGonigal talks about in The Upside of Stress, it's kind of mind-bending, isn't it?
It really is. It fundamentally challenges how we think about mind-body connection. Take the hotel maid study.
Right, the maids who were told their work was exercise.
Yeah. Compared to a control group, they showed real health improvements, lower blood pressure, weight loss, less body fat, without changing their activity or diet. Just changing their belief about the work they were already doing.
That's incredible. Their mindset literally changed their physiology.
It did. And they saw similar things with hormones, right? The milkshake study.
Tell us about that one.
Participants drank the same milkshake, but some were told it was high-calorie, indulgent, others low-calorie, sensible.
Yeah.
Those who believed they had the indulgent shake showed a much bigger drop in ghrelin, the hunger hormone. They felt fuller. Their expectations physically changed their hormonal response.
Wow. So what you think you're consuming matters as much as what you actually are. That's wild. What about stress itself? Can we apply this mindset shift to stress? It usually feels purely negative.
We absolutely can. They did a study with mock interviews. Super stressful, right?
Definitely.
One group learned about the benefits of stress, how it can energize you, help you focus. The other learned about the downsides.
And the stress is helpful group did better.
They showed a healthier hormonal response to the stress. More DHEA, which helps the brain grow from stressful experiences relative to cortisol. Their bodies adapted more constructively. Their mindset changed their stress chemistry.
So it's not just putting a brave face on it, it actually changes how your body handles the stress.
Precisely. And these effects aren't just temporary. Studies show these mindset shifts can stick around, influencing how you react to stress later on too.
Okay, I'm sold on the power of mindset. How do you do it? How do you make that shift? Is there a process?
Successful interventions usually follow 3 steps. 1, education, learning the new perspective like we're doing now. 2, application, doing some kind of exercise to actively apply it, make it feel real.
Right, practice it.
And 3, sharing, talking about the idea with others. That really helps solidify it in your own mind.
That makes sense. Learn it, try it, teach it. But going back to stress, if it feels so bad, why embrace it? Can we really see the stress response as a friend?
It's tough, but yes, because fundamentally it is a survival mechanism. It's there to help us manage challenges, perform under pressure, even connect with others. Its intention is helpful, even if it feels awful sometimes.
Connect with others. How does stress help with connection?
Through a hormone called oxytocin, often called the cuddle hormone, but it's also released during stress.
Really? What does it do then?
It motivates you to seek support, bond with others, increases empathy and trust, and it actually dampens the fear response in the brain. It boosts courage.
So it's pushing us towards tend and befriend rather than just fight or flight.
Exactly. Think about people helping each other during disasters or attacks. That's oxytocin helping override pure self-preservation. Stress can bring us together.
Wow, okay. And it helps us learn and recover, too. Stress inoculation.
Yes. Experiencing stress and getting through it actually makes your brain more resilient for next time. Hormones like DHEA help the brain learn and adapt.
Like athletes or emergency responders practicing under pressure.
Precisely. They're building stress resilience. Even just reflecting on a stressful event afterwards helps your brain learn from it.
Okay, so we understand the brain science, the mindset. Now, let's talk foundations. How do we build a solid base for managing anxiety day to day? Where's the starting point?
A really powerful place to start is self-awareness, getting clear on who you are and what you value.
Why is that so helpful for anxiety?
Reflecting on and actually writing down your core values, what truly matters to you, can lower stress hormones like cortisol. It anchors you, gives you perspective, especially when things feel overwhelming.
Like that story about the rapper Scroobius Pip. He kind of wrote his way back to confidence.
Exactly. He felt lost after a breakup, lost his creative spark. So he wrote and recorded a song, just for himself, reminding him of his strengths, his values. And it worked.
And the act of writing is important, not just thinking about it.
Writing clarifies things. It forces you to articulate thoughts and feelings in a way just mulling them over doesn't. Ideas take shape. You see yourself more clearly. Think about values like dependability, creativity, courage, kindness. Defining what those mean to you.
Okay, so get clear on your values, then what? How do you bridge that gap to connecting with others, especially if that's the source of the anxiety?
It involves consciously shifting your focus outwards, moving away from self-consciousness and towards engaging with the world, maybe through acts of kindness.
Acts of kindness, how does that help social anxiety?
Research from UBC found that socially anxious people who were assigned to do small acts of kindness showed the biggest drop in social anxiety symptoms compared to other groups.
Why do you think that is?
It shifts the focus off your own internal state onto someone else's well-being. It creates positive interactions, challenges negative assumptions about how others will react. It builds connection.
Like your story of asking that stern-looking guy in the cafe to watch your bag.
Led to an unexpected friendship.
Yeah. It just shows people are often way more open and friendly than our anxious minds predict. We build them up as scary, but they're usually just people.
And that prediction error ties into the spotlight effect, right? This idea that we think everyone's watching us way more than they actually are.
Oh, absolutely. We massively overestimate how much others notice our flaws or mistakes. The truth is, most people are wrapped up in their own thoughts, their own anxieties. Like that saying, nobody really cares if you don't go to the party. It sounds harsh, but it's often true and kind of liberating.
So a practical tip for social situations, flip the focus. Definitely. Instead of worrying, what will I say? What do they think of me? Try focusing on the other person. Ask questions. Be curious about them. It takes the pressure off you, and people generally like talking about themselves. Avoid the me trap.
Good advice. Now let's talk energy. We often cut back on things when we're stressed, but you're saying maybe we should do more of the right things. How does that work? Avoid exhaustion by doing more.
It sounds backwards, I know. But when life gets hectic, the first things to go are often the nourishing activities. Hobbies, rest, fun. We end up in an exhaustion funnel, just doing draining tasks.
And burning out.
Exactly. To sustain energy and perform well, you have to prioritize replenishment. It's not optional, it's essential fuel.
You mentioned a historical example, Bethlehem Steel. Workers resting more were more productive.
Yes. Back in the 40s, pig iron loaders, the ones who rested for 34 minutes every hour and worked for 26, loaded nearly 4 times as much as those working flat out. It shows rest isn't laziness, it's strategic.
So what are the specific benefits of taking those breaks, of resting properly?
Well, firstly, decision-making improves. Your subconscious gets time to process information, leading to clearer thinking.
Okay.
Secondly, it restores your resources. Attention restoration theory says our ability to concentrate is finite. Breaks, especially in nature green exercise, replenish that focus.
Makes sense. Less staring blankly at a screen.
Right. And thirdly, quality improves. Pushing through when you're depleted leads to mistakes, subpar work. Taking breaks saves time in the long run by preventing errors.
And it's not just about formal rest, is it? Play is important too.
Hugely important. Doing things purely for enjoyment, things you loved as a kid maybe, with no goal other than fun, that's deeply nourishing.
So how can someone put this into practice? Is there an exercise for finding that balance?
Yeah, a simple one. List your typical daily activities, then mark each one as either nourishing N or depleting D. Be honest.
Okay, identify the drains and the chargers.
Then look at the D list. What can you realistically reduce or stop? Look at the N list. What can you increase, even slightly?
And start small.
Crucially, yes, don't aim for massive overhaul. Think tiny, doable changes. Checking email twice a day instead of constantly. A 15-minute walk at lunch. Maybe limiting news checks. It's trial and error. What you think is nourishing might turn out to be draining and vice versa. Be flexible.
Small steps add up. Okay, alongside values, connection, and energy, what are the other bedrock foundations for well-being, especially when dealing with anxiety? The unsung heroes.
We're talking sleep, physical activity, your media diet, and social interaction. You can have all the fancy therapy techniques, but if these foundations are shaky, it's like building on sand. They're non-negotiable.
Let's start with sleep. We know it's important, but specifically for anxiety.
It's huge. REM sleep, the dream stage, is vital. It helps process emotions, consolidate memories, cleans up brain toxins. And crucially, studies show more REM sleep means lower amygdala reactivity, less anxiety.
So lack of sleep literally makes your fear center more trigger happy.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
It ramps up general anxiety levels. Sleep directly calms that part of the brain.
How much do we generally need, and how do we get it when our mind is racing?
Aim for 7-9 hours, though it varies. The key is a calming pre-sleep routine. 30-60 minutes before bed, wind down. Read a physical book, take a warm bath, listen to calm music.
What to avoid?
Avoid caffeine and alcohol from early evening. No heavy meals or intense exercise late on. And definitely no naps if you struggle with night sleep. Also, crucially, keep work, food, screens that blue light, and maybe even things like porn out of the bedroom, and especially out of that last hour or two before sleep.
And if you're lying there, mind buzzing. Any tricks?
Cognitive shuffling can work. You picture random, unrelated objects in sequence like a light bulb, then a penguin, then a stapler. Gives your rational brain a boring, meaningless task, signaling it's safe to switch off.
Interesting. Kind of gently derailing the worry train. Sleep meditations can help too.
Yeah, guided sleep meditations are excellent for many people. Lots of apps offer them.
Okay, sleep covered. Physical activity. We know it's good for the body, but the mind.
Strong link. Regular activity significantly reduces anxiety and depression symptoms. The trick is finding something you actually enjoy. Don't force yourself into a gym if you hate it.
And exercising outside is particularly good. Green exercise.
Yes, studies show exercising in nature gives an extra boost to mood, self-esteem, and reduces anxiety more than indoor exercise sometimes.
So a walk in the park beats the treadmill for mental health.
Often, yes. Honestly, walking is amazing. Just 10-20 minutes daily, aiming for maybe 10,000 steps eventually. It's simple, accessible, and incredibly powerful.
Right. Sleep, activity. What about our media diet? How does scrolling through news feeds affect anxiety?
Well, remember that negativity bias. It means we're drawn to bad news, and the media knows this, so negative stories dominate.
So we get a skewed view of the world.
We do. We overestimate the risk of dramatic, rare events shown constantly on the news compared to common risks like car accidents. It distorts our perception of safety.
And constantly consuming other people's outrage, fear, anger. That can't be good for finding peace.
Exactly. It keeps you living through the lens of others, constantly reacting. The key is conscious consumption. Notice how different media makes you feel. Maybe schedule specific times to check news rather than constant scrolling. And definitely avoid doom scrolling first thing in the morning.
Start the day calm. Okay, these are great foundations. Now, let's get into some core skills from acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT. It's not about getting rid of anxious thoughts, is it?
No, that's the key difference from some other approaches. ACT assumes difficult thoughts and feelings are normal. The goal isn't elimination, but reducing their influence over your actions using acceptance and mindfulness.
Okay, first skill. Diffusion, sounds like. Unhooking from thought.
Exactly. Seeing
Really?
thoughts as thoughts, just words, images, stories in your head, not as literal truths or commands you have to obey.
How you practice that?
One way is the power of stories exercise. Notice when your mind plays a familiar negative story, like I'm not good enough, or this will be a disaster.
Okay, notice the story.
Then silently name it like, there's the I'm a failure story again.
Yeah.
Maybe even add a little warmth or humor. Hello again, old story. It creates distance. You see the story, you're not in the story.
I like that. Naming it to tame it, kind of. What about expansion? This sounds like making room for feelings, which seems hard.
It does feel counterintuitive. We usually want to push unpleasant feelings away. Expansion is about gently opening up around them, making space for them without fighting them.
Why does that help?
Because when you stop struggling against a feeling, it often loosens its grip. It has less power to control you.
How do you do it?
Right.
Like in an anxious moment?
You observe the physical sensations. Where is the anxiety in your body? What does it feel like? Tightness, heat, vibration? Get curious. Then breathe into and around the sensation. Slow, deep breaths. Not to make it go away, but just to make space for it. It activates your calming nervous system while you accept the feeling's presence.
So observe, breathe, allow. And the third skill, engagement.
This is about deliberately focusing your attention on the present moment, on what you're actually doing, rather than getting lost in anxious thoughts about the past or future.
Like mindfulness.
Very similar.
Mm-hmm.
It's about strengthening your engagement muscle. You can practice on neutral tasks, washing dishes, brushing teeth, walking. Fully engage your senses. Notice the sounds, smells, textures. When your mind wanders, which it will, gently bring it back.
And then apply that to tasks you've been avoiding because they feel unpleasant or anxiety-provoking.
Exactly. Engage fully with the task. Use diffusion for unhelpful thoughts. Use expansion for uncomfortable feelings that show up. The goal isn't perfect presence 24/7, but being able to choose where your focus goes, especially when anxiety tries to pull you away from things that matter.
Right. So ACT skills help manage the internal stuff. But eventually you have to face the fear, right? That leads to exposure treatment. Rewiring the amygdala sounds pretty intense.
It is the most direct way to change that deep-seated fear response. Exposure teaches the amygdala, through direct experience, that a feared situation is actually safe. Remember the snake phobia study?
Yeah, gradually getting closer to the snake.
Right. The key was staying with the anxiety until it naturally decreased. That's how the amygdala learned, okay, this situation isn't actually dangerous. I don't need to sound the alarm. It rewrites the brain's learning history.
Makes sense, but sounds challenging. What do people need to know before trying exposure?
Okay, few key things. 1, expect discomfort. It's no pain, no gain for rewiring fear pathways. You have to feel the anxiety for the learning to happen.
Okay, brace for it.
2, try reframing that fear as excitement. Sounds weird, but research shows it can actually boost performance, especially in social situations.
Yeah.
See the anxiety's energy.
Interesting. Fear into fuel.
3, simulate the physical symptoms sometimes. Do intense exercise to feel a racing heart. Spin in a chair to feel dizzy. Get used to the sensations so they feel less threatening when they happen for real.
Desensitization. Got it.
4, repetition is crucial. One exposure isn't enough. The more you repeat it, the stronger the new safe pathway becomes. Walk down one busy street, then another, then another.
Build that new habit in the brain.
And 5, choose your battles wisely. Focus on fears that genuinely limit your life. Don't feel you have to conquer every single fear, especially ones that don't really impact you, like, say, roller coasters if you don't care about them.
Prioritize what matters. So how does this translate into a practical plan, like the social anxiety action plan?
It's a structured way to approach it. First, pick a specific social situation you want to work on. Maybe start small, something manageable but meaningful.
Okay, choose a situation.
Then practice visualization or mental rehearsal. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish imagine from real experience, so vividly imagine going through the situation successfully.
Like athletes visualizing their performance.
Exactly. Visualize the whole process, even potential hiccups, and how you'll handle them calmly. Michael Phelps famously visualized his goggles filling with water so he wouldn't panic if it happened. Make it as real as possible, maybe even wear the clothes you'd wear.
Prepare mentally, then simulate the physical symptoms again.
Yes, helps build tolerance and acceptance before you even enter the situation.
Yeah.
Then comes the core part, the actual exposure.
And the crucial bit here is,
Stay in the situation until the anxiety reduces significantly, maybe until it drops by half. Don't escape when anxiety peaks. Writing it out is what teaches the amygdala that escape isn't needed. That's the therapeutic ingredient.
that feels like the hardest but most important part. Don't run away when it feels worst.
It is. And then you repeat the cycle. Choose situation, visualize, simulate expose, and stay. It builds momentum and confidence.
Okay, that's a clear plan. What about when anxiety gets really intense, like a full-blown panic attack? It feels totally overwhelming.
The absolute key thing, though incredibly difficult, is not to flee the situation if possible. Escaping when panic hits reinforces the brain's belief that the situation caused the panic and is dangerous. Staying teaches it the opposite.
Even though every instinct screams, get out.
Even then, it's about breaking the panic cycle. So, what mindset helps?
Yeah, what can you tell yourself?
1. Remember, it's just a feeling. It's a panic attack, unpleasant but not dangerous. It will pass. Knowing that stops catastrophic thinking.
Okay, this is panic, not a heart attack.
2. Don't worry about what others think. That spotlight effect again. Your anxious predictions are probably wrong and just add stress. Focus inward or on your strategy.
Right, they're likely not even noticing.
And 3, don't focus on the panic itself. Obsessing over your racing heart or dizziness can make it worse. Use diffusion, the I'm dying story, and try to gently shift focus to your breath or something external in the present moment.
Okay, mindset shifts. Are there things you can do to lessen the symptoms or shorten the attack?
Yes. Deep, slow abdominal breathing can help counteract hyperventilation, which often triggers or worsens panic by messing with your blood carbon dioxide levels. Breathe in slowly through the nose, out slowly through the mouth.
But you mentioned breathing exercises can sometimes make it worse for people.
That's true, especially if someone has respiratory issues or finds focusing on breath increases anxiety. If that's you, don't force it. There are alternatives.
Like progressive muscle relaxation, PMR.
Exactly. Systematically tensing, then releasing different muscle groups. It teaches your body the difference between tension and relaxation and helps you consciously induce relaxation. Practicing it regularly when calm makes it way more effective when you're anxious.
Are there quicker versions?
Yes, you can do a quick tense and release of major muscle groups, legs, torso, arms, face, or even just focus on the release part, consciously letting go of tension without tensing first.
And physical exercise. Can moving help during an attack?
If it's feasible, yes. Pacing, walking briskly, even jogging on the spot can help burn off that excess adrenaline and glucose your body released. It uses the energy the panic response provided. Plus, it's good exposure to those physical sensations.
Makes sense. Use the body's readiness for action. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, from understanding anxiety to specific techniques. What about ongoing practices for long-term well-being, keeping things on track?
Mindfulness is key here, not just as a technique, but as ongoing mental training.
Some people hear mindfulness and think, well, maybe something a bit woo-woo.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be. Forget the panpipes. At its core, mindfulness is just actively noticing things. Thoughts, breath, sensations, sounds without judgment. Meditation is one way to practice, but just bringing mindful attention to daily activities works too.
And it has real cognitive benefits, beyond just feeling calm.
Definitely. Regular practice is linked to better memory, focus, and can even help protect against age-related cognitive decline.
How much practice?
Even 5–10 minutes most days can build benefits over time. The key isn't achieving a blank mind, but noticing when your attention wanders and gently, kindly bringing it back. That's the rep for your attention muscle. And keep integrating those ACT skills, diffusion, expansion, engagement, into everyday life. They become more natural.
So the big picture message is, anxiety doesn't have to be a life sentence. It doesn't have to stop you growing.
Absolutely not. The goal is not to let anxiety paralyze you. Use these strategies, keep seeking challenges that make your life richer, and don't be afraid to set bigger goals. As you gain momentum, you can change your relationship with it.
Wow, that's been an incredibly thorough deep dive. From understanding the evolutionary roots and the surprising power of mindset to those really practical daily habits and strategies like ACT and exposure, it feels like there's a clear path forward.
There really is. It's about understanding, accepting, and taking committed action. The core message is one of empowerment, I think. We have more influence over our experience of anxiety than we often realize.
Definitely. And it leaves you thinking, if our brains can be rewired just by believing our work is exercise, or that stress can be helpful, what other fixed beliefs might be holding us back from really thriving? And how can we start to gently question those, one small step at a time?